Hey y'all, so getting right into it, I'm doing these locks and I'm using the hair from Locs. They're pre-distressed butterfly locks. They're 12 inches and they're in the color 1. I also use some in the color 1B, but that's only because my beauty supply store, they ran out of the colors. Just forewarning y'all, if you decide to do this style, make sure you have smaller parts because if not, it will take you forever to do it. I'll explain why in a second. So what you're going to want to do is take your crochet hook and feed it through your braid, through the root of your braid. You don't want your braids too tight or else it'll be really hard to do this part. But once you get it through the bottom of the braid, you're going to take the loop of your lock and hook it into the crochet hook. You pull that through, open up your lock. Now there could be easier ways to do this, but this is how I did it. And you're going to feed your lock through the loop. So you pull that through. And with these locks, what I noticed is some of the loops are kind of small. So sometimes it was easy to pull that straight through and sometimes it wasn't. But you're going to pull that through and then it's just going to sit nicely if you do it right. Y'all, I was struggling. It was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning at this point. Like, it was ridiculous. But once you get it down to the bottom of your lock, it just sits and you don't see a knot. You don't see any kind of like tail, I guess, that these are crocheted. Basically, it should look like these are coming from your scalp. So after you've got that part down, this is the hard part, honestly, for me. But at this point, like I said, I was tired. You're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to loop it through your lock and try to go as close to the middle of the lock as possible. And you're going to feed your braid through that to try to hide the braid. So the more hair that you loop your crochet hook through, the more hidden your braid is. But one thing I can say about these locks is there's not a big hole to like feed the crochet hook. So when I got to this part, like I said, most of my head is done. So I've already learned that it's hard to get the hook through the middle of the lock to actually hide it. So I just finessed it as much as I could. I would try to take the extra hair and hide it like I'm doing here. If you scrunch it up and pull some more from the bottom, then you have a more hidden braid, a more discreet looking lock. That's really all there is to it, but I'll tell you what I learned while doing this style of myself. For one, like I said, there are some locks that have really small loops. And when you notice that beforehand, it makes it way easier if you try to unravel it a little bit. So not necessarily to take the lock apart, but just to make the loop a little bit wider. So you could twist it a certain way to open up that hole. That way you can easily pull the lock through. That will make the process easier as far as like getting the lock into your head. Y'all, to make it look more, I guess, professionally done, I would wrap these. If I did these again, I would personally wrap them because it's so hard with this type of lock to hide your braid because you can't actually get the crochet hook to go through the middle of the braid because these braids are really dense on the inside. It's hard to hide these braids, especially if you're not like a hairstylist. You don't really know what you're doing. It's all trial and error. If you see me doing this tutorial, you'll see that I struggled. And I had a lot of braids in my head, you guys. Like, I did this for a long time. It was basically a full-day project, and it shouldn't have been. So, yeah, me personally, I would take a little bit of extra hair, and I would do this the easy way. Just feed the crochet hook through the easier parts of the lock, and then just take a piece of hair and wrap that and hide the lock. Or hide the braid, I mean. But it'll give a more clean look, and then to me, I feel like they would last longer. So it just depends on you. If you can deal with your braids showing through the lock, then I wouldn't worry about wrapping these, especially if your hair is short. I think that's why I wasn't really worried about it because my hair is short, so it wasn't a lot of braids showing. But if you have long hair, honestly, there's probably no point in getting this style of locks, this brand, the Locs, because you're not going to really be able to hide your braid and you'll have to wrap the whole thing if you want to go for the neater look without your braid showing through your lock. So that's my viewpoint on it. The style I felt like is really cute. Like, see this braid right here that I'm doing? I had to wrap it. Like, it was just way too much braid showing. But one thing I will tell you guys is I only ended up wearing these for about 2 weeks. I had 91 braids in my head, and I didn't realize that before I put the style in my head. So I did this on a previous style. I had many braids in, and I was just like, my hair's braided up. Let me put some locks in. Not thinking that this many braids would cause the style to look big, bulky, feel heavy, or anything like that. I wasn't thinking, so next time I do my hair, I'll definitely plan for it before I decide to style it, because that was way too many braids. It took up way too much time, and it was way too much tension on my head. I couldn't deal with it, because if you've seen my other videos, then you know that I just had a baby. And at this point, I believe I was like 5 months postpartum, so I just started experiencing postpartum shedding, and it was too much tension on my edges. I'm already losing my edges, so I just can't deal with it. So I was like, okay, can't do it. My hair was in a bun the whole time because I couldn't really deal with my braids showing. Like, when it comes to my hair, I like it to look a certain way, and this just wasn't doing it for me unless I styled it to where it would hide it. Because there were styles I could do to hide it, but you don't want to have to do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Overall, I feel like if you're going to do this hairstyle, 50 or less braids. 50 or less, but then that also makes me nervous because it's hard with mini braids to pull them through the locks. So with bigger parts and bigger braids, I don't know how that would work with these dreads. These locks are they're not really made, I don't know, they're more so made for like crochet when you have cornrows, not necessarily plaits. By the time I finished this, it was 4 in the morning, like 4 something in the morning, and I hadn't even done all 91 of my braids. Hadn't even done it. The style was cute though, I can't lie. I mean, I personally just feel like these locks are meant to be used for cornrows, like the cornrow style crochet locks, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. But for this style, it's not that easy. It shouldn't have taken me this long, which is partially my fault for having 91 braids in my head. But at the end of the day, it should have been easier. But next time I do this style, I'll use a different type of lock. And I'm going to do some research on the locks first, and then I'm going to do the locks, and I'll record it for y'all so that y'all can see. But overall, I think the style is really cute. If you can stand dealing with all the things that I've mentioned, go ahead, use this type of lock. It's super convenient that they're already distressed, so you don't have to worry about doing that part yourself. So if that saves you time and that makes you feel good, go ahead and deal with it. Me, I'll be using a different style of lock next time I try this style, but I will be doing this style again. But that is it for this video, y'all. Hopefully I helped y'all with something. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you feel about this style in the comment section, and I will see y'all in the next one. Make sure you subscribe to my channel too. Bye.